fun?
Henry.
Did you get the deep fried Twinkie? Hey guys, welcome back to a video. So today what we're doing is we're playing around a little bit with growing oyster mushrooms, and so what we decided to try was to use some buckets and grow them in buckets. I grew them last year using like traditional fruiting blocks and the plastic bags and so on and so forth, and we had success. But it was a lot of work, and I didn't like the idea of that the bags were a one-time use, like, you know, using in one and done type of deal. So I started thinking about, okay, well, I'm sure there's other ways that you can grow them. We happen to have some extra pool supply buckets, so I washed them out real well, sanitized them real good, and in these two buckets, as you'll see backing up here, in this bucket we have just straw or hay, however you want to put it, and in this bucket we have aspen wood chips. And all I did is I just cleaned the bucket and I drilled 1/2-inch size holes all around the buckets, as you can see. And then I used basic grain spawn to inoculate the grow medium. This is not it. This is actually going to be added into other stuff. And so, like I said, just straight straw here, aspen wood chips. I got both of them from Tractor Supply. No endorsements or anything like that, but that's it. So these have, I think they took about, what do you think, Danny, 3 weeks to grow, all in all? 2.5, 3 weeks to go from the point that we set we inoculated them and then set them off to the side and then put them in the fruiting chamber, and they were in the fruiting chamber for about maybe a week or so. And so it looks like the straw actually did better. It might, I don't know if it's just a bigger bucket. I don't know if it's because of the straw, but those are all things that we're going to be testing with and checking out. Today, what I'm doing is actually just harvesting these ones because they're ready to go. Then I'm going to take the lids off and scrape the tops to see if I can induce a second flush out of these buckets. But I know, I mean, we're just playing around experimenting with some things. And so like you see on this bucket here, how they're curling up. This is very indicative of it's getting too hot and insufficient humidity. And so we do have some tweaking to do on our fruiting chamber, but that's part of the learning process. So that's, you know, what we're doing. But we just wanted to get an idea. Like we're playing with it. We're playing with the idea of starting to grow some mushrooms, and these are just traditional standard oyster mushrooms. How we did these, I'm actually pretty happy with the results. They're not, I mean, it's not great. There definitely could be better, but you know, for the first time, and we didn't even get them into the fruiting chamber on time when they started pinning. I hadn't built the fruiting chamber yet, and so they spent probably 4 or 5 days while they were pinning outside of the fruiting, just sitting on the counter. Which, you know, you can't keep them humid enough to do that. What we're going to do now is we're just going to harvest and see kind of what we got. And like I said, I'm going to take the tops off, scrape the mycelium, and go from there. So we got the old scale out, and we're just going to go through and trim these off. I was trying to do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison between the aspen wood chips and the straw. But it's kind of unfair since it's two different size buckets. It gives different size growing blocks. We actually have more buckets going of the same size just to do a side-by-side comparison. And all I'm doing is just going through and just clipping off the fruiting bodies here.
Don't mind our dog.
Yeah,
She's
our dog
snoring.
snores. Yeah, and again, these are curled up, and I think it's just because there's insufficient humidity or it just got too hot. I have the fruiting chamber right now in my garage, and I know for sure it's not producing enough humidity, but I think it's in addition to that, it's getting too hot. I got some tweaking to do on my fruiting chamber, but overall, I mean, I'm pretty happy with how they've turned out. There's that one, and this is 93 grams. This small bucket just produced 3.35 ounces, which is not great. That's just under a quarter of a pound, or 16 ounces to a pound. For the first time using these buckets, I should say, and for not ideal growing situation, I'm actually pretty happy with that. All right, transfer these over. They smell good though.
Yeah, we love mushrooms.
Make sure that's zeroed out, and then we'll go through and do the same thing. Go around, and I will say the straw, and again, I don't know if it's just because of the size of the bucket, but there was significantly more of the holes that were drilled that had mushrooms coming out of them. I mean, albeit they're small, but this almost seemed like I could let them go.
You're gonna. Wow, that's good. This is good with soup. Soup or yahan or whatever, man.
Yeah, I'll let those ones
Smells
go. I
good.
guess. What about these ones? You think they're?
Maybe a couple more days. You'll wait until it curls or what? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's
Small.
like this is already starting to curl up. I think just harvest them all and then.
Just keep it one more day. Maybe it's humidity. It's very humid right now. I mean, maybe you could just leave
but
them
it's
outside.
in the garage. So, well, anyway, with that one, well, right there, that's 3.7 ounces, and we haven't even done all this. So it's like the straw, I mean, but it's a bigger bucket. So I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of a toss-up, straw versus wood shavings, to see which one would do better. We do have more buckets, like I said, going of the same size of the smaller bucket. I have 2 buckets that have the wood shavings and 1 bucket that has the straw in it, and we're going to start playing around a little bit with the growing medium to see if we can get a little bit bigger mushrooms. And of course, like I said, I got some modifications to do in the fruiting chamber to get the humidity and the temperature stuff under control. But overall, I mean, I'm happy with it.
Seems like it's a successful.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
so
mean,
far
it's
it's not dry and dead the first day.
Yep. So it's a good. I'm gonna chalk it up as a success and move on to starting to tweak things and fine tune stuff and go from there. And I have tinfoil on this because I can't find the lid to it.
It works, right?
But what I'm gonna do now is just take the tinfoil off and then put that back in the fruiting chamber to see if I can't get this to trigger a second flush. I'll do the same thing here, take this lid off, and I'll just use like a fork and kind of scrape up the mycelium a little bit and then put them back in the fruiting chamber and see if, like I said, maybe we'll get some additional mushrooms coming up out of those. That'd be pretty awesome. So I don't know if this is even honestly necessary, but all I'm trying to do just disrupt the top of the mycelium, just to hope to get us some additional mycelium, encourage the growth. And that's all I'm going to do is just basically that. And the same thing over here, just kind of disrupt the top fuzzy layer, and hopefully that'll trigger them to get going. Maybe I'll just only do half just to see the test, see which side it grows out of. And that's that. And back into the fruiting chamber. Nothing like fresh mushrooms. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one.
Winry, say bye-bye. Tired, Winry. Past your bedtime, baby? Just want to be with us. Past your bedtime.